the Braw and the Brave with me, Lisa Kennedy. And first off, you know what I'm going to say? It's the socials. If you're not already following us on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and also, of course, subscribe to here on YouTube, I would really, really appreciate it if you go and just show some love. Yeah, like the struggle is real. We're trying to get the word out about the Braw and the Brave, and the amazing Up Next Studios are so supportive of what I'm trying to do with the podcast. So go and check their socials out too. And without further ado, I am so chuffed. I'm chuffed to bits to say that Matt Hickman is here on the Braw and the Brave. Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, pal, you're in real life.
I know. It's because we did it online the first time.
We did it online, and you know, I had a wee listen back to it, and I was like, what a time. It was literally, yeah, it was quite early on in the pandemic, I think.
I think so, and I think like doing stuff like that was about the only sense of like relief we had, because it was just, we're just stuck in not able to do things.
I remember, like, I think the episode was about an hour and a half long, and I had just the loveliest time. We were just talking about music and about growing up with music and just stuff that we were into and stuff that, and then obviously we had the pandemic chat as we were all doing it.
Yeah.
But it just, like, because I saw your music online, I'd appreciated what you were doing from afar, and I was just doing that thing of reaching out and going, hello, I make a podcast, you want to come on? And I really appreciated you taking a punt on it, because you didn't know who I was. So, and now we're pals. And,
I know.
And I actually met you maybe about a month ago in Irvine in the Harbour Arts Centre. I'm always shouting out the Harbour Arts Centre. And yeah, what I'm so pleased about is that you're still making your amazing music.
Yeah, somehow. I'm amazed by that as well, to be fair.
You're so talented. And I honestly, I really love your music, and I love watching what you're up to from afar, as I say. But it's hard going, the music business, eh?
Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll get into that today, but yeah. It is, but I think there's also like the beauty in arts and in culture is always that like there's more than one way to do it. And maybe as you get older, I'm a bit older than I was when we did that podcast, you get maybe a bit more wise and a bit more resilient, and you find ways of doing it that suit you as a person. And I've got a really lovely group of people around me that I do it with, and that makes it easier, because you think, well, we're all in this together. And yeah, but it's definitely an industry that's but that's all creative industries, and especially now we're all in a situation where there's like less funding and a lot of loss of jobs at the moment. And but beautifully there's also opportunity, and I think there's such a lovely way of like just keep going and doing it, and somehow I'm still here. So if there's anything to take from it, I'm still going somehow. But
it's important to find the positives, because there always is, and it would be easy in this day and age and all the things that are going on in the world to hone in on the negative and be like, oh, it's too difficult, it's too hard to try.
Yeah.
But like you say, do you know what I mean? Like, and it is surrounding yourself with the right people as well. Like, that's how I feel about, you know, Up Next Studios doing the podcast here.
Yeah.
I said to you before we started recording, I wouldn't be doing this with anybody else but them, because they're the right people.
Yeah, and what a beautiful space, right? So
absolutely. And I guess for you, in terms of your band, Brownbear, has that been your kind of emphasis on being authentically yourself in the music that you want to make by surrounding yourself with the right musicians and the right creatives? Yeah,
definitely. And I think we've become such a team, like such a unit, and I think it's the joy of being together and knowing that, like, sometimes actually rehearsals are difficult because we get in and we go, it's been a while, and we're like catching up, and it's like, we actually have to make music. Yes. And but I think it's wonderful, and we're working towards some lovely things, and it's been such a change. Especially after lockdown, you do so much on your own. Suddenly you're like, and I think that's the difficulty as well. You get a bit bogged down on, you've got to do things your own, you've got to do the business, and you realise, like, when you have time and space just to be in the room together and make the music, you're like, this is what we love. This is all it is. Like, it's just as simple as, let's make the songs, have a lot of joy, and I do hope and I do feel that, like, we're quite a joyous band to see. Like, I think because we have so much love for each other and so much fun being on stage, people are there with us going, like, this is a bunch of people that love what they're doing.
Of course.
And if nothing else, like, they're enjoying that energy. So
yeah, because you're making the music first and foremost, I guess, for yourselves, that creative outlet, but then you want to share that with a collective of people who get it and feel it with you. And like you say, there's nothing better than being in the room, whether it's a rehearsal room or whether it's been on stage. And it's like that one moment where we were all together and we were just doing this thing and everybody was having a nice time, and the outside world just kind of goes. Yeah,
and also, like, all the people who do it are exceptional in their own right. So I love being with them and hearing their ideas, or going, wow, I wish I had that way, because we've got backing singers and theirs are so incredible, and that I'm not a singer, so I love learning from
You said
them.
this the last time about you, and
I
I was
know,
like,
but it's
nonsense.
true.
I'm not having it.
It's true. Like, I open my mouth and stuff comes out, but they're like they're like
Really good
singers, tolerable stuff. But they're like singers, you know, like, and they have this beautiful tone and like the way they think about melodies and harmonies, and I'm just always in awe of everyone in that room, and I think that helps keep you like inspired, because I'm learning as I go. Like, I think that's the beauty of life, is like you're always able to learn, and I always want to be pushed and challenged, and you know, I spent a bit of time doing stuff in film and all these different things. I'm always being creative, and I want to be pushed, and sometimes being pushed is being met with people who are just so exceptional. You're like, hey, I'm privileged you're in the room. I'm privileged that all of them are in the room, you know what I mean?
Rather than being intimidated and seeing that as like, oh gosh, like I'm never going to be like that. It's like taking what you can from that experience and working with other people, and people that do stuff completely differently to you.
Yeah.
You maybe do the same art form, but their process is maybe different than yours. There's something to be learned from it.
I think so. I think it's the beauty of art, isn't it? Like, there's, like I said earlier, like there's so many different ways of doing it. Like, I try to be as open as I can. That's not always the case. Some days we've got to get through stuff, and it's a bit of like, yeah, this is how we do things. But I can see the change in that, because we were in the room the other day and we were doing things, and some people were throwing in new ideas, and I could see the older members like wincing and looking at me like, this feels like something you were going to get into trouble for. I'm a lot more chilled now. I'm like, nah, it's all good. Like, we're all learning. They're sitting going, oh, this isn't how Matt does stuff.
Because a hard taskmaster, Matt.
Yeah, a little bit, but only in the sense of like,
I'm not saying that is a negative thing, of course.
Yeah, no, I think it's more like I try to be sometimes out of respect for everyone in that room, because we have limited time together, and they all, like I say, are exceptional, so they have a lot of other projects. So I want their time to be respected, and I don't want anyone ever to go in that room and think, yeah, you messed around all that time, and I gave them 3 years of my time, and you know what I mean? And
yeah, that's important. Yeah, because you could just go on and on and on and on and not really get anywhere sometimes, and it is important. But holding space for other people, other creatives, is tricky. It's a bit of a juggling act. I do it quite a lot through my teaching and choreographing, and I think sometimes I take it for granted because I've done it for a long time. But sometimes you'll be thrown into a space that's maybe a bit new, or just the energy's different that day or whatever, and you realise how much work it is just to keep everybody buoyant, and you're just checking in that everybody's having a nice time and feels that it's worth their time.
And there's also a thing where I'm trying to learn that like I have a value in that room too, because I think sometimes I think, oh, I'm so privileged these people here, and I'm like,
but what about me?
but not even that, more like ultimately sometimes when people come to see the shows, they've come to see me, irrespective of who's on the stage. So I have a duty to turn up in that space and be a leader, and to put my best self forward. And there's been plenty of times I've turned up and thought, well, I wrote the songs, I know them, and then sometimes I sit there and think, I should practice more, because and it's quite intimidating, because they've all got like iPads and like notepads, and they make notes, and they're like, what key is this and what bar is that? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'll do better next time, I promise.
No, but I appreciate that though, because everybody's process is different. It doesn't mean make you less of a creative just because you've no, you do. And I work with musicians quite a lot, and singers, and some of them, can sight read, and some of them, they're glued to the page, and other people are like, I'll figure it out. Just leave me be. I'll be fine. I'll just work my magic. And you've got to respect whatever your process is, and however you're coming to the final product.
And I think what I'm great at is when someone brings a part and they play it, I'm great at jumping out and going, see that bit there, that's great. And see those things you're pitching, have more faith in yourself, because that's really good, and that's a hook. I'm all about hooks. I'm like, that's a hook. Go back to that. This is like what people want to hear. And I think they laugh a bit, because they're thinking, how is it that you manage and tour manage this project, but like you're so not on it in rehearsals? But I think sometimes I'm thinking so much about the business. Like, sometimes I get to show day, and the last thing I think about is the show, because I'm like, is the production ready? Is like the safety protocols in place for people? Is everybody's transport sorted? What's the ticket sales? What are we doing last minute promo? Like, this next show or two we have coming up is really big productions. I'm across all of that. So a lot of artists they aren't like, the load in can be from like 9-10 in the morning. I'll be there at 9-10 in the morning. I'll be there when the last people leave. But I also like, and some people say to me, you don't need to be there for that. I'm like, but I do, because all these people are only there to help me. And like, I have such a respect for that. And I was really lucky to work in crews as well. So I think that made me realise just what, like, I had this like total awe of like, these people are here from like 6 in the morning till 2 in the morning. Proper graft. And they're the kind of unsung heroes. So I always think that the more we can be there and help and be respectful of what they do, like the better we'll be for it.
Of course. And for you, I guess it is that, like, you know, overseeing everything, because it's essentially it is your baby.
Yeah.
And it must be quite hard to relinquish control at points. Do you know what I mean? To just be like, as much as there is all that trust of your team and you know that everybody's going to do a good job, essentially you're finding that the buck stops with you, and you know, you just care about it. You care. You want to give the best that you can.
Yeah, and I'm sure you probably know this from like working with dancers and casts and stuff like that, where you're like, it's not even about control. I mean, some of it is. Some of it's like, I would love to relinquish control. I'm definitely at a stage now where I would, but you'll know yourself. It's just that you want everyone in that setup to feel respected. And like, I fight so hard for everyone in our setup, and I do hope, and I think that there's been a lot of people who are with us who say like, you know, sometimes people come in the setup and they're kind of like, oh, this is pretty good. This is a good system. And some of the other older members say, yeah, but like really respect it, because you're not going to get this anywhere else. Like, this is good.
Yeah.
But I was a tour manager. I learned that, like, I learned seeing how to keep crew morale. And the same goes in the band. Like, it's just like, it's basic things, isn't it? Like making sure people are fed and they know what they're doing, and it's the least amount of hassle for them. And that there's rules and boundaries, and like, and also like there's a lot of people in the setup. Yeah. Everyone has different boundaries.
Yes. But
everyone's boundaries should be as important as others. Some days you come in, right, and you go, it's my name on the door. Like, where's my boundaries? But like, but ultimately, like, as long as they're happy, I'm happy.
But the thing is, along the way, you're probably schooling some people in how to be. Yeah. And that's really important. And you'll maybe never get to know the impact that you've had by just being a decent human and taking all those things into consideration and being respectful.
Absolutely.
And sometimes some people just need to be shown that, to be like, do you know what? He's really decent. He did a really great job for us there. And that makes somebody think the next time, maybe I should be a wee bit more positive, or maybe I shouldn't be as grumpy. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just takes for somebody to show you.
And some people have left our setup and said to me since, I didn't realise how good I had it. Because I had to go and try and do it by myself, and that was tough. I was getting paid more in your setup than I was doing my own shows.
Gosh.
Because we have a rule, everyone gets at least a union minimum, or we don't do the show. So if someone's, that's why we don't do as much. They want to, I'd love to do the show, you're going to pay, I can't pay that. Well, I can't do it because I'm never going to ask them to go to work. That was a lockdown thing as well. Why should we come back from that having had our whole life cut and work for anything? Because all we're asking for is a union minimum. We're not asking for like the best possible fee.
Sifting through the scraps, you're, oh, thanks very much, like, gee, ta. Yeah, this is actually our profession.
Yeah, we were talking about this off air, like how hard it is to discuss some of these things.
I mean, I've not learned a lesson at all in the 20 odd years that I've been doing this. I'm still working like I was when I was 23, and and I'd be the very first person to say to young people, like young dancers or whatever, you know, I'm like, there's, but like you said, boundaries and rules that you should absolutely, and don't do as I do, but do as I'm saying now. Yeah. Because I've made the mistakes, and I'm still making mistakes all the time. But learn from those mistakes. You deserve better than that. And this is like the bare minimum, and this is what you're aiming for.
Yeah.
And go for it, because you're worth it.
And we have a funny thing in entertainment where we celebrate minimums. Like getting that union minimum, that minimum rate, we're like, that's a big win. And it's like, there's no other job where someone's coming forward and saying, do you know what I did today? I got the minimum I could have got. And people go, well done. They're like, you're doing a great job, you should ask for more. But because we're so used to not being paid, or that being like all these like words they use for how you can pay less exposure, whatever it is, when we get the union minimum, we think we've won. And it's like, that's a dangerous position to come from.
Very true. But it's a tricky juggling act, because you're like, well, I don't pay my bills with fresh air, and also I need to get my music out there, and I want to share it with the world. So it is that juggling act of making decisions that are right for you as an artist, and right for your team, and right for you as somebody who just needs to earn a living from the thing that they're excellent and meant to be doing, but also being going, well, actually, no, I'm not going to do that gig because of X, Y, and Z, and I just need to, I've made my peace with that, so you need to understand the reasons why.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
I found though, like a lot of times, I worry about it, right, and I say it, but a lot of people respect it, and a lot of people go away, and sometimes they come back, whether it's a month later, 2 weeks, a year, whatever it is, and they say, hey, we've got this to offer you. I've had a few people who I've said it to.
Miraculously found some more money, did you?
Yeah. or like not even miraculously found. Like they've gone and got funding and thought, I thought about what you said, and now we want to do that. I've said it because I never say, this is our fee, take it or leave it. I always say, this is our fee, here's a document, and it breaks down why our fee is that and who gets paid what. And probably they look at the fee and think, you get paid the same as everybody else. I'm like, yeah, because that's the minimum we can do it for.
Yeah,
I would
okay.
I would love to get paid more. I probably
course.
should.
Yeah.
But if I would never put people out for not earning, and I think. But I'm not saying that anyone should follow that because I am. I think you should if you can, but I understand how difficult that is, and it's a hard bargaining position, and it depends where you're at. But for me, I'm just like, nah, that's important to me.
Yeah, I massively respect what you're saying and how you've managed to survive through the pandemic for a start. That was like decimated the arts in so many ways. But then, you know, you're having such a successful career doing the thing that you love to do, that you're meant to do, and sharing your amazing music with the world and upholding your values and the things that are important to you. I think that's really admirable. Like it's something that others should be really inspired by and take note of in the industry.
Yeah, I'm trying, but it's funny, but I'm not going to like say that I'm some genius or whatever. Like when we did Demons after the lockdown, it was obviously the record that followed it. We had this thing of like, let's just put it out and see what happens, because I don't know what will be. Everything's so decimated, and it was just bigger than we thought it would be. And I hope that's testament to the music and to the songs.
Yes, of course.
But it wasn't planned for. It wasn't like a strategy. It was just like, well, so the next time we were kind of trying to keep up with the snowball of what was happening.
Wow.
So this time I'm hoping we're more prepared.
You're like, right, we've got it. We know what to expect, because the music just keeps continuing to be awesome.
Yeah. Aye, the music, I hope so. I don't feel like I'm the person that gets to decide that or not, but I know that it's like, I know there's a point where I've got a set of songs that I'm happy with, or I feel like reflect where I'm at as a person, or whatever that is. And I think, well, now all I can hope is they resonate with people. Yeah. Like, I don't think too much more than that. Like, and then you're in that safe net of people not hearing it, and then comes to making the record, and you're in that safety net of like the people you want to hear it, and then comes, oh, we've got to put it out to the world, and then it's back to socials and back to like, which is like becoming we talked about this off air, it's become like a increasingly big thing for me where like I don't do it as much, and there's like people who agree and disagree, but I keep saying to people, I am who I am. Like I don't think anybody wants me to be on TikTok. This is the thing I say to them, like it's not going to go well.
That be on TikTok? I wonder what.
I know. But the thing is, like, see if somebody said make a TikTok and be a different character every day, I'd have a ball, because I'd just be having a laugh.
You'd be great at that.
Yeah, just have fun.
Like, I don't want to have to be myself on TikTok.
Exactly. Go on and be. I don't like. There's nothing that I can bring to that app that's going to make people's lives better. So I'm just going to stay in my lane. And
yeah, I mean, I did say to you, I didn't have a TikTok until very recently. I've set one up for the Braw and the Brave. And I don't spend a lot of time on it other than just posting, which seems quite selfish, but it's just that, I mean, for me to get the more word out about the Braw and the Brave kind of thing.
I also think you're so great on socials, and you have like a way of being that suits socials, and it's like I always think, I look at it and think you're doing. I just
always think folk are like, what is she doing now? What is she saying?
I actually find it quite inspiring, especially because like you're obviously like still dancing, and you're like, because there is a thing about like age and stage of when people have an expectation. Where I don't think you're old at all, but like I know that people, I know that in our business people think that like 30 is old. So it's a really difficult thing. But
I'm like a dinosaur.
Well, I feel like a dinosaur when I say things like I'm not on social media.
What's that, internet?
I was sort of like I was in another. This is what happens when you've got shows coming out, you're in interviews and podcasts, and they're talking about like AI and all these things, and I was like, I don't know if my opinion is the one to have, because I feel like I'm the dinosaur now. Like I'm the person who's like, I'm the person who, when it was like sheet music, said radio's going to ruin the business. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not the person's perspective.
Don't talk to me about AI.
Yeah, I'm not the person whose perspective you need. Like, I'm not young. Like, I just have my way of being, and either you're with it or you're not.
But there's space for us all. I think that's the thing. The message has to be like, you might like that. You might love TikTok and get so much from it, and you listen to artists on TikTok or whatever. But there's a collective that want to listen to your music, and they'll be of all ages, all backgrounds. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not like your music speaks to one type of person.
But we kind of get criticised sometimes because people say to us like, oh, the audience for this show is kind of like disparate, and there's like young people. Is that normal? I'm like, I don't know what normal is, but like I'm really glad that across age groups people like our music. We're not targeting a single audience. Like,
of course.
And I went to see David Byrne the other day, and it was exceptional. And I was thinking, like, I think he's like 74, and he's still putting on a show better than most people ever will. And I'm like, and I think like there's such a thing about age, but like with age comes experience and knowledge and an understanding of what showmanship is, or what a production is, or what a message is, or how you want to perform. And like, I think is a bit lost in the business now.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and I also feel sad that there isn't, like, I have a few friends who are older who used to do music or maybe didn't do music because of that expectation of work,
Really?
and now they're thinking about retirement. Like, they're great musicians, great songs, and like, I'd love to do it. I'm too old. I'm like, why are you too old? Because there's also,
Who says?
but also there's lots of people your age who have no one talking about the things that you're going through at your age. Like, what I have nothing to say about some of the things that you're living through.
But you can talk about your experience.
Yeah,
as
but you could
your
talk
age.
about yours, and that
Yeah,
could be
yeah, yeah.
like, because we do it.
So true.
We're like cutting out audiences and people who deserve to hear music. But that's how the entertainment business works like that. They're always chasing the next thing that's like whatever it is, social media, whatever. And I just think, and maybe this comes to being old, I've lived through a lot of things that have been the next big thing and don't exist anymore. So that's why I have this thing of like, I have my way of doing things and I'm still here. And if they shut down that app tomorrow, I'll still sell out shows.
Correct.
If that app
Yeah.
if that app shuts down for a lot of you tomorrow,
alright.
you might not even be musicians. And that's what a lot of people aren't thinking about. And I wish some people would think about it like, what is your legacy? Because it's not going to be TikTok and it's not going to be this. It's only ever going to be your songs. And you've got to look back at that at some point and still be proud of it. Or say like, hey, it's not the best thing I did, but I see how it got me to here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people look back and go, man, wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, it is that staying true to yourself, authenticity thing. Do you know what I mean? Because even with the podcast, I'm always I'm like, I just want to speak to interesting, nice people. I just want to bring nice people into this space and have a chat. And I've always said, like, you know, if nobody was listening, I'd still want to have this chat. I'd still want to be in this moment. Do you know what I mean? That if I end up losing the reason why I started it was just to have nice conversations and to inspire others, then I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I love that about this podcast because it's people from so many walks of life.
I know, like, how
and there's so many
lucky
people
am I?
I've been like, oh, that you know what I mean? It's like,
It's amazing that you're here.
yeah.
I'm so chuffed.
No,
No,
thank
but
you, but
it is
yeah.
like, it's so. You go on a million podcasts. I'm sure you've got a list, your arm's length, you know, working towards shows that you don't need to be doing this. But so the fact that you want to come and do this with me and we have a nice conversation about music, like, and what inspires you and what you're working on, means so much to me. And then if other people listen to it, that's an absolute bonus.
It's the bonus, isn't it?
It really is. And what I loved about the conversation that we had way back in 2020, that's wild, 6 years ago, was when we were talking about musical influences, especially growing up and stuff, and like you were saying, like as a kid you were a massive Michael Jackson fan, and I was like, at the time I was sitting in my cupboard in my spare room and I was like, I'm looking at like the Thriller vinyl and I'm looking at the Bad album, like we had so many like similarities in terms of the music choices that our family kind of were influences by when we were young. Do you think those types of music you were listening to as a kid still influence you, or do you think you've migrated away from them?
No, definitely, because you come back to it, don't you? And you see it coming. I think you always migrate and you always find things, but I definitely find, like, I can't speak for everyone and all the time and myself, but I know that when I went to start writing this next record we're going to do, I was like, I don't know where I'm at, and I just didn't know how to find out where I wanted to be at. And I was like, I'm going to start listening to everything I used to listen to. And like I even found demos of like the first ever high school band I was in. And I was like, I want to remember what made me love making music.
Love this.
And all these bands. And some of it I listened to and went, oh God, I didn't like that. But a lot of it I was like, oh yeah, it was that and that. And I actually feel like there's some songs that are a little bit more electric based and like almost a heavier sound. Because I grew up listening to like Motown and soul as much as I did grunge and
so
rock.
you tell me your dad played guitar, so it was like kind of rock influences, but then your mum's music kind of choices were different again.
Yeah. And then like obviously your gran, like my gran would be playing more like Frankie Valli and all that kind of stuff. And so I just went back and tried to remember what made me love all these songs and albums, and then I was like, I'm overcomplicating it sometimes, and I just need to remember what I love. So I definitely still go back and visit, and I know there's going to be a film for Michael Jackson. I'm sure like that will make me go back and visit the back catalogue. And I would say over the last few years I've like been deep diving stuff like that. And like I said, I saw David Brown the other day, and it was sitting there in that moment. I hadn't thought about it when I bought the tickets, but it started making sense. And that Talking Heads live show is one of the things that made me want to be a live artist, and also realise that there's more to a show than just being on stage playing the songs. Of course. That felt fitting because we were doing some shows that are a bit different this year, and I was like, okay, I think I need to inspire myself again because it's become so business. I just want to be an artist. I just want to create, and I want to enjoy creating, and I don't know, I want to make something different in a world where everything's very similar and it's so much noise. Like, how do you just move to the side and say,
I'll be over in my lane.
I'll be over here
Have
if
a
you
nice
want.
time.
I'll be over here if you'd
I'll
like
be if you need me.
to hear
I'll
what
be
we're
there.
doing. Yeah. Have you
Doing my thing,
yeah.
having a great time.
Yeah, but
So
then
important.
maybe I'm the dinosaur. Who knows?
No, be a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Be a dinosaur. How awesome are dinosaurs? I mean, I've got a wee boy that comes to my class every Saturday and he's clutching a dinosaur. Loves the I think we advocate for being just be you.
Yeah.
And I mean, that sounds like so cliche, like just be you, guys. But like working with young people in various kind of different capacities, I mean, I wouldn't thank you a lot of the time for being a young person in terms of social media and all that kind of thing. And I think it must be really tricky for parents to navigate that as well, of like, do I leave them out and they're the only one that's not got a phone and all that stuff. But I think if you just instill in, well, not just young people, anybody, that just be in your lane, and yeah, you can look at the other traffic and appreciate it and be like, oh, that's cool, you're doing that, or you like that, but essentially we're only here once unless you believe you're coming back as maybe a butterfly or whatever.
That must be so difficult now, because everything you see is everyone trying to be part of the same thing.
I know.
But like I said,
it feels like you can't all get in.
but I also just think I don't want to be in that. Like, I'm maybe just so lucky I grew up just before social media, and when there was like different subcultures and it was like cool to be like, I don't like the mainstream, and I've got a little bit of that left in me, so I just look at it and go, that's not for me. I said that off fair, I said I was going to say it, but it's true. As soon as I hear someone say, hey guys, I just unfollow them, I was just like,
So
done.
Matt did say that to me before we started, and I was like, really conscious. I don't think I normally say, hey guys, but no, I'm not saying it ever again. But then I was waiting, you just strolling out here.
I'm off. But then I realised and this is what I did. What I actually need to do is not unfollow people and not do it. It's like, I just shouldn't be on social media. If I have to post, I'll open it up, post, put it away. And I read more, I spend more time with the family, I'm more present. Like, I've been trying to read a book every month. I stumped myself though, because I started one book, I was into, started another book, I was into it, but I've started reading The Godfather as a book. It's incredible.
Wow.
Incredible.
Right, okay.
And that's what I've done as well. I've read a lot of books that were like classics, and I'm like, because I have this thing, right, and I've had it since I was young, and I don't know that I can't speak for young people. I'm not going to say they don't, but when I got into the music business, it felt like there was people who respected the business, so you could pass stuff on. And I always had this thing: study the greats, whatever the genre, study the greats. And I kind of left that behind. So with this time, I don't know why I chose books. I thought, I'm going to read all the books that people say are great, and I want to figure out what's great about it for me. What do I love about it? What's it?
Do I agree? Do I agree? Do I agree? Like that?
Like,
or
find
is it just
something.
People go, oh, this is the best thing ever, and you're like, is it?
Yeah, and I used to like really do that, and I don't know why literature this time. I think maybe I think it was because it was like a rebellion against screening, a way to not engage.
I mean, there's nothing better than an actual book.
Yeah, and I would never like do it. I always read paper.
Yeah, me too.
Going by and
although I did boycott them for quite some time after I did an English degree. I was like, I'm never reading them again. Fed up reading.
That's
slowly
fair.
Gravitated back to them eventually.
And now what's really lovely is I've got a wee bit of a library going on. Like, for myself, I've got a wee bit of like, and I've got my vinyls, and I'm like, oh, this means
You're just
like,
very cool.
I don't think that.
You, and I think that's.
I don't think
cool.
that is cool.
I know, but it is. No, it is. It totally is. You are so authentically you, and I remembered that when you came in the door the day, and I just remembered how I felt when I was talking to you the first time, and even though it was on a screen and we hadn't met in real life, But then obviously we did the Braw Live, which was lovely, and I felt like that was another moment to get to know you better. But just having a conversation before you even started recording, and even now, that's what I really liked about you the first time that I spoke to you. Was just like, Matt knows who he is, and I really, really admire that, because as somebody who's not ever been sure who they are a lot of the time, I just really admire that you own who you are, and you don't shout about it. You're just doing your thing, and you're like, everybody's cool doing their thing, I'm doing mine, and I honestly really admire that.
Oh, thank you. Do you know what I would say though, for anyone that knows or watches or thinks that for me? I have the same confidence crisis. Some days I'm like, what am I even doing? Who even am I? But I think I was talking about this earlier today. I'm like, for me, like, principles aren't something that can change. So I have principles. I'm like, and I just think to myself, I feel uncomfortable in this moment, and I feel like I don't know if it's the right thing, and I feel like everyone else is saying it isn't. But in my heart, I know this is a principle I hold on. So the principle will see me through. And like, somehow I always get on the other side. Sometimes when I get to the other side, I think, oh, well, I'm glad I'm here because that was a long time of not thinking I was ever going to get there.
Yeah.
And I have all the time. I always think I'm like, should I be in this room? Like sometimes I've got some beautiful people around me, and like my partner's incredible, and she's so great at saying to me when I'm having that moment, like, because I swear to goodness, I wake up every 2 days and say, I think I'm delusional. I don't think I've done well. I think I've convinced myself I've done well. And she'll say, remember you did this, and this. And I'll go, yeah, that was quite good. Like, that was good. And she's really good at being like, focus on the things you've achieved. Yeah. Remember how hard it was to get there.
Right.
Keep that hustle. And because sometimes I just go, I don't know if I'm good. Because I don't feel like I fit the world right now. Like what the world is for socials and all that. That's not who I am.
Make me feel a bit teary.
Do you know what I mean? Don't play. Oh, I don't like making people tear. But yeah, I don't feel like I fit the world. So like sometimes I just think, but then I just hold on to my values and my principles, and I go, if nothing else, I'll have them, and I can hold my head high, knowing 100%. That I am who I am, and I was unapologetically so. Yes. Doubted every day, but unapologetically so.
I still remained myself, and that's the important bit.
Yeah,
you're not saying, "Oh, I've got it sussed."
Yeah,
and I'm kicking about, feeling like I know, where everything lies, but in your heart of hearts. And I think probably listening to you, I'm going, you probably do know who you are, Lisa, but it's just tuning into that.
Yeah, because I feel like you know who you are. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like, I feel like you've got a strong sense of yourself. But that's the hard, because I'm seeing you from the outside and going, I love how you are. Mm. But inside you've got the self-doubt, and we don't hear the self-doubt, and we don't see it in you. And I find it hard, but I just, like I say, I just hold on to it, and I think that's what I want, and like for people around me, but I've had a really sad thing of watching some incredible people have to leave the business because they can't afford to be here, or they can't keep going, and it's not that they weren't strong or they weren't principled, it's just life, and I think it's such a loss for the business because they're so exceptional.
Of course.
And I think that's why we were always pushing through and just thinking, well, that's like, I think I just have to do it for myself. I just have to know, like, I did something. And do you know, it's been really lovely. I've reached a stage where maybe now, the more I've gained a sense of myself, meetings are very different for me when people do want to be involved, because it's less of a, hey, like, I do this thing and I hope you agree, and I know that it's just going and say, listen, this is who I am. Yeah. If it's not for you, tell me now. We don't have to talk about it.
That's okay. That's okay.
Because I'm going to find someone that believes in it. And if there's someone that believes in it, I'm going to still do it, because I can't help who I am. And I am who I am, and I believe what I believe. And I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I think a lot of people find comfort being around that. But I'm really good with other people, because I feel like I'm almost better if someone else has an issue, I'm more like, I'll help you solve that. Yes. And what I'm terrible at is saying, I need some help.
Yeah, totally. It's always the way though.
Yeah.
You're just putting out fires for everybody else.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I forgot about myself. That's right.
Yeah, but I'm quite critical of some things, and
yeah, I appreciate that you have your opinions, and you're happy to give them in a respectful way.
But I feel like sometimes I say something and think, God, that's such a strong opinion. Why did you say that? But people receive it well, and all I can think is that
because you your aura.
They know
it comes from a place of love.
I'm saying it.
You're not a mean person.
It's not being mean. This is what I think. And also, like, I've worked hard enough that they respect, like, okay, I take your opinion. But I'm also someone who, if someone said to me, someone texted me the other day and said, beep you because of this. And the first thing I said was, yeah, you're right. I got that wrong. Because I don't mind someone calling me out. I can't do it in my life if I can't take it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm critical, but it's with love, and I love this business, and I respect this business. And I want this business to be fair and equitable for everybody in it. So if I have something to say, I'm saying it for a reason, and I hope that, like, because I'm saying it with love, that, like, and I've criticised a lot of people in times who have taken it really well and said, yeah, you know what? Someone stood up at an event recently and said, I didn't know this was going to happen. I was just at the event, and they said, that guy Matt over there called me out once, but I'm a better person for it. I thought they were going to shame me publicly.
Like,
I was like
like melting into your skin.
I was like, oh God. So I did. I thought that had flown under the radar. But they were like, no, I appreciate you called me out, because I needed to be called out, and nobody would do it. And you did it. But I was just thinking, I don't know why you're being that way, and it seems like it's detrimental to you. Let's talk about it. Like,
yeah, and that's the thing, innit? It's just sometimes you just need to talk things out, and just be like, I feel like this, and this is the reasons X, Y, and Z, and now I'm going to give you space to say your bit, and hopefully we can find common ground, or we can just agree to disagree. And I respect that we don't think the same, but That's
There's space
okay.
for us all to think
well,
those
the
ways.
world would be very boring if we all thought the same things.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and in terms of like what you like and what you dislike, that's fine. There'll be people that absolutely love your music. There's people that are like, oh, it's not for me. It's some, and you're like, I'm not looking for everybody. I'm not a people pleaser. I'm not looking for everybody to love me. I'm just making the thing that I want to make, and I'm trying to just surround myself with the people like what I'm doing.
No, and I was laughing today. I was saying like my kind of secret hopeful accidental outcome of AI is that it's so like it's so like inauthentic and generic that it makes me look like an actual artist. Like I'll start to look like properly authentic because I'm not really like an artist. I'm just kind of like a musician who has like the way of doing it, but like I'm not a Bowie. And I was saying AI might make me look like Bowie. That's my accidental hope for the outcome of AI is that.
Let's put that in the ether.
Yeah, that I start seeming.
I mean, you
like,
are an artist, so
yeah, but I'm like an enigma.
Right.
although I there was an article about, or was it like a gig review recently that described me as like an enigma or something like that, because it's like they were saying like it doesn't like do press a lot on that. I said, this is great. Like people are starting to buy into it.
And I'm not even trying. This is just me. I'm just being totally me.
I'm actually just sitting at home.
I'm not trying to be cool. I just am.
Just sitting at home. Sometimes like sometimes things will happen, right? And it'll be like a public event or like an award thing, and I'll get an invite, and I'm always very grateful if I do. And I say, oh, I don't know, it's not for me. And my partner's like, you're going to have to leave the house eventually. Like and I don't think
like, don't make me.
She masks as this kind of like you need to be seen publicly at some point, but I think it's just get out the house.
Just like get under my feet for 2 minutes, please. Go
I
and do
just
something.
want space. And I'm like, oh God, I guess I'll
I'm sure
leave.
you're going to have to be out the house soon because you've got some amazing gigs coming up.
Yes.
Tell us all about them.
So, 27th of March, we're playing in Queen's Hall in Edinburgh, which is like what a prestigious fit. I know, what an honour. And we're doing a show where it's called Reimagine. So we did it first at Celtic Connections with a string quartet. So now we're doing it with a 10-piece string ensemble and the band. I think there's going to be 18 of us on stage. But with the ensemble side of thing, it's like a fully black and POC, which is very kind of rare in classical and orchestral circles. And I think it might be the first time ever there's been like a fully like Scottish or Scottish-based like black or POC string ensemble. I don't know if actually, but I'm telling myself that, and it's a good advertising tool, but I think it is.
Wow.
And one thing we were doing a lot of things with that where we're trying to not just make it like so behind the scenes, not just a show, like we're getting like some of the unions involved, and they're going to come and speak to everyone about their rights and things they can be involved in, and we're getting everyone their first set of in-ears, and we're trying to do something where it's like this is a legacy, and we don't have all these opportunities, and I get we live in a world where like there's a lot of comments about this and that, but the reality is there's lots of different barriers for lots of different peoples, and for this particular thing is the barrier. But I've always been a big believer, like if this is a good blueprint here, this is something we could roll out over there, and I would love to see something like this happen in like areas like Ayrshire, where in general, like no matter your background, people aren't getting opportunities to be in music, and especially like classical music. So yeah, like that's the hope,
so
and
cool.
and I'm really hoping it grows into
done.
something a bit bigger, that maybe we eventually do it with an orchestra, or we do like classes where we maybe have the show in the day, but we also have like workshops where people get to do it. So
yeah,
you're the real deal. I would love it to be, because I think when you have an opportunity to do something like this, it's got to be more than yourself. It's not about me. It's not about the project. Like, and I'm very lucky that we have songs that people feel are of the standard that they can sell a show and they can be reimagined, and hearing them with these arrangements is just stunning.
Fix that.
Yeah, it's been incredible, and I think we're so excited, and we're hoping it's going to be a live record, so there'll be like an album that comes if stars align kind of thing, and we're pitching to do it again in Glasgow at some point. But
amazing. Oh,
yeah,
I'll put all the details in the show notes for people to.
Yeah, so that's 27th of March. That's the Edinburgh one. It's going to be beautiful, and I feel like we're trying not to be overexcited, but I feel like it's going to be one of those moments where people who see us, or people who have been with us for a long time, I think they'll see us and go, oh my goodness, that's the next level.
Yep.
Like they've gone away.
It sounds like it to me.
Yeah, and I think we really do that. We go away and we think we need to always be better.
Well, you're artists. You want to evolve. You want to grow. Like you were saying, you should always be learning. Like you're not going to just like, that's the fun bit for you.
Yeah.
Is the creativity. It's going back to making stuff.
And the hours to get to the creative part have been horrendous.
Okay.
But the beautiful people who have been creative, and like Angela Chan, who's done the arrangements, and Sam, our drummer, my lord, he has made everything like foolproof for this show, and like these shows like there's so many people that, and also like the team that like Arisa and Helena have booked the show, and Queen's Hall, and also Queen's Hall for facilitating it, because this is different for them. This is a change, and they've backed it and said, do you know what, we, because when the show first came up, they said, what do you want to do? And I said, like, I don't know if I'm doing shows just now. Like, and this is a funny thing for me, because everyone's like, you need to do shows, but I just am who I am, and sometimes I go through this phase of like, I don't know if I'm ready to be out in the world. Like, I don't know where I'm at.
Okay.
And I said, I'll tell you what, the world's a funny place right now. If we're going to do a show, we're going to make a statement. And when I do go online, I see a lot of chat about like multiculturalism and how it doesn't work. I was like, give me a chance to walk up on stage and show how it does work. And like, I hope I have your backing. Yeah. And I don't know if we will or not. I hope we do. But I think what we have is some beautiful players who are Scottish, and because there's also this idea that like multiculturalism is this thing where like there's people who choose to resist. I was born and brought. I feel like I'm an Ayrshire boy through and through. And I was like, just give me a chance. When people say it doesn't work, give me a chance to walk up on stage and show them beautifully that it does. And I'm not shouting at them. I'm not fighting them. I'm just saying, like, this is proof of like when it's done right, and when we're given a chance, and when you give space, like this works. And fair play to Queen's Hall and the team. They said, yeah. We love what you're saying.
Hey, hello, they're getting this gift on a show.
Yeah.
What's not to love?
Well, but I don't think like that. So to me, I'm like, I'm so lucky.
I'm already excited for the people that are getting to go to this and see it. Do you know what I mean? And be part of it.
Yeah.
So you're giving them that gift.
Yeah, because I said it, and people were like, you need to stop saying it. But I said it in the last tour. We played some places that, and I was saying, I feel like these are areas where like reforms and stuff like that's going to be discussed, and I'm not going to sit here and criticise people, because I think there's a really easy thing to do and say, oh, you believe that, and I think that sometimes, but I also know that like we're all living through some of the worst times, so this expectation of people not wanting change, they might not make the choices I think are right for change, but they want, the thing that we share is we want change. I was saying to them, like, I know people in this room are going to vote reform, and they think, and I was like, but just remember that like what they're pitching is multiculturalism, people of colour, people who come here, doesn't work. And I was like, but I need to tell you, you've just paid 20 quid to see it. So I don't know where we're at here, but it's something to think about, because it does work, because you've paid a lot of money to see that happen.
Correct.
So I think there's a bigger scale of that. I was like, let's have it, and we wanted to have a legacy, and that's why we're trying to pitch doing it as a record. And I just think like sometimes some of the debate and some of the fight about spaces, and it's important, but it's like clash.
Lots of shouting.
It's like, maybe we just have to stand up and do something beautiful.
I like what you said about people just coming together in terms of common ground. Like, you want change, so there we have something in common there. Yeah. So where can we find more common ground?
Because sometimes people will see a show like this and go, oh, like you're doing it for all musicians of colour. Like, yeah, that's where we're at, and that's something we're passionate about, and there's a reason for that. Yeah. But don't think I'm not caring about Ayrshire or working class people, because there's so many people I know from home who are better musicians than me that never got to be musicians. When it was lockdown, the only live stream I did was for North Ayrshire Food Bank, the only thing I agreed to do. Yep. So that I still care about home, but there's other things I care about, and all of these things can be blueprints. If it works for one group, it's like that's a blueprint.
I've made this thing now. You can follow it. Yeah, take it. Do your version of it.
This is one thing I would say. There's a lot of people online who shout about, well, what about us? And it's like, yeah, well, what about you? What are you doing about it? Nothing. You're sitting there criticising me for showing up.
When I'm showing up, exactly.
I'm showing up.
Exactly.
You're sitting down. Like, I don't have to take your... And I did a thing recently, and it was like a political thing, and they invited me. I don't know why I get invited to speak about things. And they were saying like... And they were saying like, oh no, like, people might shout out stuff, and they might hard questions, and they might tweet it. And I said, and do you know what I'm going to say? Shut the F up. And like, you can't say that. I said, I can, and I will, because I don't need some keyboard warrior telling me about life, because I'm showing up. So unless they're showing up with their profile picture and doing something for their community, I don't want to hear about it, because they're not showing up. And I don't have to take their opinion. Nope. And that's the trap we all fall into, is thinking that we have to.
People say things, and
I don't care.
Good for them.
Try to say to them, people have said things about me my whole life. It's not new. That's not affecting me, because that's been my whole life. And I just try my best. I go home some days and think, oh, this is terrible. Why don't they say nicer things? But
yeah, because you're a human.
Because I'm human, but I also think...
But again, it's back to the principles.
Principles. I believe what I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the first show. And then in June the 6th, we're doing St Luke's again, which has become like a home away from home. And we're doing both albums from start to finish, from track 1 to 20.
How cool.
Yeah, cool. And that was originally the plan for Celtic Connections, and then really sadly, our guitar player Andy, he was in like a quite a bad car accident. It took him out of touring for a year, and we were like, now that you're back, let's do it. And I think that'll be a really beautiful show, and it's kind of a show that I hope other people come that don't know us, but obviously for the people that do know us, it's kind of a beautiful celebration of what we've done. And I think I needed a bit of closure from the last record to go, I'm ready to start a new one. And also it's pushing ourselves. It's like, let's go out and do different things and make...
You're getting out of the house, Matt.
Yeah, and also like, I'm getting out twice. There's proof that I've left.
2 dates.
Once a quarter, I'll leave the house.
You came here today, so
yes,
I appreciate that.
That's a lot. But I think like ticket prices are just going up, and the standard ticket price, like our ticket prices are getting towards like 20 quid now, and it's kind of the equivalent of what 10 quid was even 5 years ago, which is sad.
Totally.
But I have this thing of like, I can't believe someone would pay 20 quid for a ticket. So I'm like, we have to make this the best experience, because that's hard-earned money. Like, that's my thing. I don't want to show up and just do a gig for the sake of it and phone it in. Like, and I've had people say to me, like, especially when we're doing the solo tours, you're leaving yourself on that stage and I can see it damaging. I'm like, yeah, but these people have turned up and paid money that we're all working hard for.
And it could have went to something else.
Yeah, I'm going to show up for them. I'm going to make
I think it's important.
So we want to make these like events and to go, and also to prove like we're still about, like we're still, I think there's that little ego thing where you're like, I'm still relevant to something.
Correct.
Like I always want to be better than myself, and I don't know who that's for, if it's for me or whatever, but like, you've got to have drive, and I lost that for a bit. Like after the last record, that I had so much drive, and then I lost it, and I was like riding high, and then I lost that confidence, and I had that self doubt, and I didn't write for like a year. Okay. I genuinely just was like starting to go, I'm not good. I don't think I can write songs anymore. And then they came back, and I'm really grateful for the patience that people have had, and because obviously for like the band with me, like if I don't tour, they don't get to do the Brownbear stuff, but they're always just like, whatever. But
everybody would have known that it was just that it needs to be the right time for you, and that's important too, because you're a person, you're a human, and it doesn't just, you don't just churn them out like AI.
Aye, and in that time I had I've got two beautiful nieces, and I've got to see them grow up. I miss so much of life, like with tours and working.
Yeah, of course.
I just got to spend so much time seeing them grow up, and it's been incredible. And like, I feel like I'm like, I'm really involved in their life.
And that's a new chapter in your life in terms of as they get older and they'll be able to come and see what you're doing.
Hopefully.
I mean, that's so cool.
Hopefully. And it's been like, it was such a funny thing when we did the last record, because I have friends who have kids, and it was like, by the time we did the second album, they were old enough to realise that like the songs they heard were me. So then, and I remember like seeing my friend's wee girl, and she'd realised that like I was also Brownbear, and then she was like acting all weird. I'm like, yeah, but it's still me. Like, why are you?
Hello, you know me.
She was like, I was like, what's going on here? Like, I've known you since the day you were born.
I know
like,
that is so funny.
I know, but at least they think it's like a deal. But I always still I still get like pure. If someone comes up and says, "Are you Brownbear?" I get pure. I'm sure I like that. Yeah. Like,
yeah, that'd be me.
But I also think like, what if I'm? I always just like, what if I'm like, what if they think Brownbear's like a cool thing, and I'm an utter this, because I'm.
You need to stop with this shit.
I know, but I'm
cool.
I'm just like I just don't know if I have.
I know I'm not the authority and cool. Anybody that knows me is like, you're not cool. Would you know? You are cool.
I don't know about that, but I'm amiable, and that I think that's hopefully an enjoyable thing.
Your
for
eye
me.
roll from me there. Nobody caught that. You are cool because you are totally 100% authentically yourself, and even when you don't know what that is or who that is, you're still you, and you're moving through the world doing something that you love, and you care about it so much, and you care about other people. It's just the love for me, it's oozing out you. And I find you massively inspiring, because as an artist, of course, but just also as a person, because I think I really admire the graft, the work, the dedication, the creativity, the talent, but also just that you are a decent person and you do great things for other people. And I know whatever you go on to do next, it'll just always have that authentic stamp of, that's Matt. And anybody I ever mention you to always says the same thing. He's a great guy. And I'm like, I know.
That's what I spent my money on, paying these people off. That's why I have to do it again.
Nonsense. Matt, you know we could do this forever.
I know, but we can't. Well, we can. We just have to
You've
do
been
it.
allowed out the house for a whole
I know.
hour.
I know. We need to do like a part 2.
We definitely
Yeah.
do. Listen, I'm so excited to see what you get up to next. I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping to come along to a gig. Can I come along?
Absolutely.
Can I be there?
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Anytime you want.
Yeah, thanks so much. You are Braw and Brave for sure, pal.
Yes.
See, we know we love the alliteration, don't we? And on that note, thank you so much for joining us here on the Braw and the Brave. We will see you next time. And then we move to this lovely camera here.